Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Hope you guys are having a great start to your Tuesday morning. I got you an update on what is going on with the weather specifically for today, as I will continue to do these morning updates while the weather is relatively slow. It looks like things are definitely going to start to pick up as we get into the weekend and maybe next week with maybe multiple episodes of severe weather occurring. And I'm going to talk briefly about this towards the end of the video. So stick with me because it definitely needs to be discussed, but we'll obviously discuss things like that in the evenings and really begin to break it down. If you want to see the latest video on that, check it out last night. I dropped that last night, but the National Weather Service has dropped some risk areas here in the day 4 to 8 range. So it's definitely starting to get real that the power pattern is about to change to a more active pattern regarding severe weather. So if you guys have not subscribed, definitely consider doing that. Like the video if you like it, and I appreciate y'all's ongoing support. Great way to stay up to date with the latest and greatest is hit me up on Twitter, Facebook. If you're not active on social media, that's cool too. No worries there. You can keep up with the videos. If you guys got anything I can pray about, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it. Gives others an opportunity to do so too, so we can all look out for one another here. All right, let's check out what is going on right now. There's some nasty weather here in and around New Orleans, Baton Rouge. There's been a couple tornado warnings. There's one ongoing right now just west of New Orleans as of around 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so 6 a.m. Central Standard Time here in the New Orleans area. So continue to watch out here. There's going to continue to be some severe weather in these areas. It's going to extend to the Panhandle a little bit later this morning and afternoon, and we're going to have some severe weather in the peninsula of Florida a little bit later today. So the dangerous thing about this setup right here is there is a lot of messy convection, meaning there's nothing discrete out there. The sun is still down in this area and will be here probably for the next couple hours, I would think, maybe hour and a half. But just watch out in and around New Orleans here in the next couple hours, then get into Gulfport, Louisiana, and then Mobile, Alabama, as these storms continue to move through. And they're still, got some strength to them, even in the morning hours where, the instability really isn't its highest, but it's still pretty nasty out there. Really going forward, you got to watch out for severe weather. We'll briefly mention here, day 4, there's a 15% risk already up. That's equivalent to a slight risk at day 4, which is for Friday morning into this coming Saturday morning. We also have a day 7 risk, which is pretty far out. This is a Monday morning into Tuesday morning of next week. And we talked about it last night that, we're about to enter a pattern that was better, that was more favorable for severe weather. And this is already including the entire eastern half of Texas. And then there's a rare day 8 risk where you basically have a 15% risk coming up here in Birmingham, Alabama, Jackson, Mississippi, almost the entire state of Louisiana. So severe weather is increasing. Severe weather chances are increasing for next week. I mean, this is 7-8 days out for this risk. So it's definitely increasing. So let's talk about what is going on for today. So we'll stop this around 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. These severe weather will continue to be ongoing. It's no kind of outbreak or anything, but these storms associated with this cutoff low or upper level low flow here, or upper trough, if you will bring severe weather to the east of the low pressure. So it will continue to do so through the afternoon hours in the Panhandle of Florida, even southern Alabama, southern Georgia. But then where you have better thermodynamics in play, higher temperatures, higher dew points, you're going to have a risk for some severe weather in the peninsula of Florida, especially as you get into the evening hour. You're sitting in Tampa Bay, for example, and you're going to have some storms that moves onshore from the Gulf of Mexico a little bit later this evening. And it's just going to be a stormy evening and then overnight hours. And then tomorrow, the risk is probably going to shift into areas like more of the Carolinas and things like that. So we'll talk a little bit more about that tonight also. But going forward, as far as the temperatures, it's going to be a nice day before the clouds moving in the Carolinas and eastern areas of Georgia, 70s, 60s, 60s reaching as far north as New York City. You might even see some 60s in southern New England. The interior areas, 30s and 40s, not too bad for this time of the year. But you got 60s and close to 70 for the Mid-South, Tennessee, Kentucky. But then you see this pocket of cool air that is driven by that cutoff low, which is bringing rain-cooled air. And, cutoff lows tend to bring its own weather. It brings its own cooler temperatures due to rain-cooled air, and it brings a lot of clouds usually and a lot of cold air aloft. So you're going to have some chillier temperatures across areas of the Deep South and Mississippi. And I know you're thinking, why is there cooler air and more southern areas, and then warmer air on top. Well, it's because it's a cutoff low. It brings its own weather here. So 60s, 70s across areas of the south central U.S. So a nice day, but like I said, for the southeast, you're going to continue to have rain that pulls in a little bit later into the evening hours tonight. But there continues to be an active flow here in the Pacific Northwest. In fact, there may be a little bit of storm action here in areas of Oregon and Ohio today, especially Ohio as you're getting into the later afternoon, evening hours. You see these storms popping up in southwest Idaho is what I meant to say. If I said Iowa, I might have. But I meant to say Idaho. Southwest Idaho, you definitely have some storm action going on. So it starts to happen. You get later in the year, you get more into the warmer season. You start to have some convective activity. So we'll watch that. Some rain along the valley, snow in really higher elevations as this next system starts to drop down and will continue to do so. Temperatures cooler than average where it is raining, where there's basically rain-cooled air. But let's check out these 60s and 70s extending. The 60s extending all the way into Canada, into areas of eastern Montana, areas of southwest North Dakota, seeing 60s in the 70s. So a big-time thaw reaching all the way up into these areas. And it's just going to be a nice day across the Midwest, the upper Midwest. And then the desert Southwest is going to start to bake a little bit. Not bake, but you're starting to get into the 70s and 80s for sure. LA, nice day. And the Valley of California, a very nice day temperature-wise, above average temperatures expected. But going forward here, going into tomorrow, there is going to be a risk for severe weather. And we'll talk a little bit more about this in tonight's video. But our pretty large marginal risk is extending basically from Wilmington, North Carolina, including Columbia, South Carolina, Charleston, Savannah, Jacksonville, Florida, Columbus, Georgia, just south of Atlanta. And this is in response to this slow-moving cutoff low that's going to continue to pivot through the southeast. It just gets lost in the flow, kind of meanders, pivots back and forth. It doesn't really have any great directional orientation to it. It just kind of meanders and it's kind of lost in the flow. There's no flow to it. So a lot of times they can stall, they can bring some heavy rain, and that's what we're going to watch for. I'll talk a little bit more about this tonight, but tomorrow into tomorrow night, and heck, even into Wednesday. This is for our Thursday morning into Friday morning. You're going to have a risk for severe weather, and this is associated with that cutoff low still. This is a totally different system coming up behind it. But there is going to be a risk for some severe weather tomorrow into Thursday. And there's going to be a risk of some heavier rain too, I think, for the Carolinas. But we'll talk a little bit more about that tonight. But tornado risk is pretty low for the threat tomorrow. Wind threat, pretty low. But we'll see if this increases. This is a sneaky event that could increase to a slight risk for tomorrow. But we'll continue to watch it. That's all I got, guys. I hope you all have a great day. And I'll talk to y'all this evening. Stay blessed and stay safe.